Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paddock podcast. Joining me are two absolute titans of the Manchester United fan base. I've got Mr. David Scott. How are we doing?
Good, man. Titan.
Yeah. Titan, yeah.
Right. It's the nicest thing you've said today.
Ever to you, probably.
True.
Yeah. Also, last but not least, I've got Ronaldo Brown. How are we doing, Ronny? You all right?
I'm doing great. It's much better when we win.
In life, better when Manchester United win it.
It's mad because I felt like when I was coming down the stairs then, and I was like, why does this feel like such a rarity? Do we actually not win that often?
Because you know what it is?
The podcast on a Monday it's so much easier and so much better when we've actually won the game.
It is. Everything is just, you got a spring in your step, you're just a little bit happier. You know what I mean? More relaxed. I enjoyed it. Was it you that tweeted about Hate Watch?
Oh yeah, I love it when
Watch. Yeah.
When United have like an early Saturday kickoff or a Saturday 3 o'clock and all our rivals haven't played.
Yeah.
When we win that game, it makes the rest of the weekend so much better in terms I can just hate watch the rest of my rivals and hope that they lose.
I love that. So I quoted you yesterday in my news.
So United winning and then Arsenal losing to Bournemouth. It was just yesterday. Obviously Wolves let us down a little bit, or was it VAR?
Do you know what let me down? That decision at the end. That would have been the icing on the cake. You know, when I thought, actually they're going to get this goal disallowed, that would have been funny, but it didn't happen. Also, Liverpool were a bit lucky at times as well. I don't think it was that easy for them. Anyway, we'll get in some of the comments in the chat. Make sure you are hitting that like button as well, please, people. Brian Casey says, Ronny, Marty and Scotty had a treble we didn't know we needed. Matt Whiteley says, yes, lads, good to see. Good return to proper football. Fingers crossed it returns now. Santa Not says, maybe because we won without deserving to lose. Yes, that is nice as well. We're going to be chatting a little bit about what we're expecting from the season. What are our ambitions for the season? Also, I wanted to get you lads to chat about, in terms of the Premier League, you know, what's the best scenario? Because we are in, the 21st of October, but let's be honest, United are in 11th. Yeah, even if we had a massive turnaround, I don't think any of us believe we're going to win the league, and nor should we. That was a nice, week that we had where we thought we might.
August was great.
August was great, the beginning of August. So what is the best, Scotty, for you now?
Yeah.
Because us three were just chatting and off camera, I was chatting to Ronny, and I was like, I understand your point, Ronny, about enjoying Arsenal defeat, but there's a part of me that's like, because it can be so close to title. I'm already looking at it going, do we need to start hoping that, are we looking for the best of the worst options, if that makes sense, when it comes to who's going to win the title? I'm doing that.
Yeah, like everybody else is saying.
And this is literally a question and a discourse we have every season.
We do.
And that's a problem.
I know.
I want us to eventually be involved in this.
I dream of the day when we sit here going, are we going to win the league? Do you know what I mean? Can we want, I don't know, Arsenal to lose because it helps us win the league rather than, excuse me, I'm just going to turn off.
I might be slightly deluded, but I still think it's not going to be like a gradual thing with United. Where it's like we kind of go up the table in increments and then we're title challenging. I think United have that in them where just one season, maybe one pre-season, it might just click and we're in a title race. Yeah. And that could just be at any point within the next 2-3 years. I don't think we're as far away if everything knits together as people think. And I'm just dying for it, really. I'm starving.
For success.
It's like, what is it? It's an 11-year fast now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I need to break my fast.
Same time to break the fast.
Do you know what? I feel so sorry for you, Ronny. Because how old are you? Mid-20s?
26 now.
26. Yeah. So you would have been, 14 when we won the title? 15, 14?
Yes.
So you're not too bad then. You've got a good memory of us winning a title.
Yeah,
you were obviously of age where you can remember it and experience it.
My first proper memory of United and being able to take it in and be immersed by us winning things was around that late 2006, 2007 onwards. So I didn't.
So you can remember Moscow?
Yeah, I remember Moscow.
Well, that's good. Moscow. So you're all right. Maybe. Like I still sympathise with you because you got to taste it and it ended. But like fans that are like early 20s, late teens, what the fuck have they seen?
Is it worse though that you've seen it and tasted the success? It's like that. Was it the Stone Roses or the James lyric? If I hadn't seen such riches, I could do with being born like a Spurs fan.
No, well that's a point. For me, I think I'm very lucky. I think if you used to time it. You used to say, I'm going to have 20 years of winning titles. When's the best 20 years of your life to win it? All right, from about the age of 13 to 33. So I'm going to the game, I'm loving it, I'm experiencing it. I think I'm quite fortunate. When I look at younger fans, and I think they've not really been there. But to be fair, I mean, when I was a kid, it was Liverpool that win everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, we was getting to that. With all that in mind, with who's won it and what you've seen,
who do you prefer?
Who are you looking at now? What's your attitude, Scotty, when you watch these games? Do you have it in the back of your mind, like, I'm already thinking about who's going to win the title, or do you just think, you know what, I hate City, I hate Liverpool, I hate Arsenal, whatever, I just want them to lose? That's what sort of Ronnie was saying before.
Well, I agree with what Ronnie said before we started the show. It's that whoever the rival is, I want them to lose. But that changes as we get towards the end of the season. So if it's like City and Liverpool and they're both vying for the title, I'd rather City win the league every year over Liverpool. But is the question, what can United do this season, or what can we?
Both. We're gonna, what can United do, and what are you hoping to see at the end of the season, and who do you think will win the league, and who do you want to win the league, and all that, everything.
I think that Arsenal might win the league this year, despite them getting beat at the weekend.
I said that.
You me and him disagree.
I was mocking Arsenal on the weekend, because I always will, because
I do it so well.
I hate their fan base.
If you've got a skill, you got to use it. That is your skill.
Proper idiots as well. So anytime I get to rile them up or to see them upset, I bask in it. But even though they lost to Bournemouth the way they did, and they're sitting in third place, and I don't think they're quite at the level that they were last season.
Yeah.
I still think, from what I've seen from a performance standpoint and projecting outwards, I think Arsenal look better than Liverpool and City to me. Yeah. Even though they lost 2-0, I still think Arsenal are favourites in my mind. I thought that as soon as Rodri went down for City, but I just think Arsenal look like, I think Liverpool and City don't look quite as good as where they currently are in their games.
City look more susceptible to conceding goals this season, and that might be down to the Rodri injury. And then you wonder, as it gets towards the latter stages, there's the rumours about, is Pep going to go if he announces that post-Christmas? Will that have a knock-on effect for City? Obviously, Liverpool are on a great run at the beginning of the season. Is that sustainable under the new manager? You expect new managers to get a bounce. Will there be a dip in Liverpool's form? And you think Arsenal have been there and thereabouts. This might be the season for them to sort of knock on and win the league. But in terms of United, what do I think? I think we're a cup team at the moment, and I think our inconsistency in the league just shows that we're going to need a Europa League. I think that's the next step. Carabao, FA Cup, Europa, then hopefully, knock on for the league.
Yeah,
that's the thing, because I predicted before the season, us to finish fourth.
Yeah, do you still stand by that?
I thought we'd finish. I think we still will be around that. By the end of the season, we'll be around that 5th, 6th place mark. Yeah. I think we have enough quality. I think we have too much quality in the squad, whether fans would like to believe it or not, for us to not win a lot of games through that. Or there will be games, as you saw, like in the second half, where Ten Hag he's, as I said, I do criticise him, but he's a gaffer with pedigree. He's a gaffer with a lot of experience, and he will get things right throughout the season. And there will be games where it does come together for us, and we'll look like a side good as we can be, as we hope to see more often. And I still have enough belief in the team where I think 5th or 6th will at least be achievable if it knits together. But I don't know if that's just me being really hopeful. But confidence of top 4 now, probably not so much, because, as I keep saying, United aren't operating in a vacuum anyway. It's not even just about whether we improve or not. It's the teams around us. And I think the Premier League has gone so strong, and the depth in the league is so strong, that I think top 4 is becoming harder and harder as years go by, because you've got the likes of Newcastle that have obviously come into the mix, and then you've got Spurs that are in around it. You've got Chelsea that have gone from being the 12th or whatever they finished, and then they've come firing back into the mix, and they look much better this season. And you've got the emergence of Villa, and then Brighton are still there in and around it, and it just feels like week in, week out. West Ham was meant to be in the mix, but they've been awful as well. I just think in the Premier League now, anytime, any week, at any time against any opponent, you could get beat. So I think that's probably what has me concerned, is whether United will be able to get on a good enough run, especially with the hole that we've dug ourselves in, and with the fact that every time that United play, we don't know what we're going to get, because sometimes we get a victory that shows a promising signs, and then it ends up being a false dawn, and then we're not good at the following week. But to me, I'm hopeful, but I think top 4 is going to be tough, and it's not even just to do with United, it's to do with the fact that there's so many good teams in the league now.
It's a sad indictment of where Man United have sort of fallen to, because for years we were always looking at the teams above us, like the Liverpool, Arsenal and City, and saying, right, we're chasing them, when really we should have been looking over our shoulders with the likes of Villa and Brighton, and how much they've been improving. But for me, and I've been cynical or critical of United and Ten Hag this season and last, on paper, our strongest 11 is better than the likes of the Villa and Brighton, in my opinion. So therefore, we should, if it can all click, get enough points and be challenging for that. But it's the consistency where we are going to fall down.
Yeah, it's interesting because get involved in the chat in the comments. Alex Bailey says Liverpool and 115 FC might be top, but nothing beats going from 14 to lofty heights of 10th after scraping a win versus Brentford. Did you think we scraped it?
We're 11th. 11th, and the fact is, if Forest beat Palace tonight and we go 12th, don't we?
I think I've quite enjoyed Saturday. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought it was alright.
As I said, I'll tell people now. I didn't, because I was playing for Paddock. I only got to see the last 10 minutes of the game. Yeah. So I said, if United are going to win games when I don't watch, I might have to not watch them.
That's not a bad idea.
I mean,
just don't watch it that way. You don't. If we don't win, you don't watch a defeat, and if we do win, you're happy because we've won.
Yeah, and then also it helps with my job if I just don't watch. Play.
This time last season, who was top of the league? You've probably just seen that.
I don't know.
Do you know?
Arsenal.
Spurs were top.
Oh yeah, they were unbeaten in the.
Yeah, do you remember? This time last season, James Maddison was banging in the goals. Everyone thought Ange Postecoglou was the greatest manager of all time, and I was hoping, because even this time last season we'd already had a wobbly one. We were 8th, which is dizzy heights now. But I was thinking maybe, if Spurs win the title, that would do for me. That it is depressing when you have to look at it and go, okay, we're not going to win the league. Who's going to win the league? You said, Ronnie, there. You think we can? Excuse me, sorry, I've had too much Pepsi Max Cherry. Do it quicker than perhaps some people think. You say, Scotty, there. We've got a decent team. You think that perhaps we're a bit better. We're certainly better than our performances would say. How many windows do you think it's going to take to get us to a squad that's like challenging? Because I agree with the point you make about the starting 11, and I think the FA Cup final proved that.
Yep.
Because all right, we've lost McTominay, we've lost Sofian Amrabat, but we're still pretty much the same team. And we went toe to toe with City. Oh, sorry, Rafael Varane as well. And we matched them, and we were better than him, because when we've got a lot of players fit, we have got a good team. How many windows do you think we have to go through before we can get a title challenge going with the squad?
I think what the problem is that Ten Hag needs to make sure that this season, if he is staying, that it's the foundation now, because he's been backed in the summer, and there has been changes, Jay, from the Man City team, from the team that beat Man City. One of the criticisms of Solskjaer's tenure was that we were winning games in moments. And I felt, while it was great on Saturday, like it was like a 17-minute gap where we scored and then went 2-1 up. Why wasn't that possible to do it in the first half? So I think what Ten Hag needs to do first and foremost, rather than looking at what he can bring in, is getting the best out of what he's got and making it work week in, week out, and then build upon there. But I think it's probably going to be about 4 windows before United will be challenging for the league. 4 windows, Ronny? Do you think that's
4 windows? I don't know.
I don't feel like January almost doesn't count.
I think just calling I think there's got to be more perspective put into it than just calling it the window. It's obviously got to be with the level of the window, because we could have 3 windows where the recruitment's piss poor.
Omar Barada said 2028, didn't he?
Do you know what I mean? And
do you think that's realistic? But he said win it.
That's probably based off win it. Yeah, that's probably based off trial and error, because unfortunately not everyone you sign is gonna hit the ground running or turn out what you actually expected it to be. And then obviously on the flip side of it, you get some signings that might surpass expectations. But I think United just need to get cleverer and better with the recruitment, and especially now, I think you get punished for it a lot more because of PSR and FFP, that you spend a little bit too much on a signing that doesn't work out, or you allocate funds incorrectly, and then it affects your ability to actually go into the market next summer and challenge probably the other big teams for another marquee signing that might change things because of a mistake that you've previously made. And United have been dealing with that for a few years now, and it's probably going to get worse. So I'm just hoping that with Ineos and the footballing people that they've brought in, that we get a little bit cleverer with that. And also, there needs to be a little bit more, like the same thing that we spoke about when it comes to Man City, and obviously with Tiki, and you got Edu and Arteta. There's got to be almost like a synergy between the player profiles they're getting and the philosophy and the style of play. I think one of the biggest issues with United is, I think we do recruit and buy good players, but it just seems to be too much of a mismatch of different profiles and styles. And then when they go out onto their pitch, it looks like all the players are suited to different styles of play and different philosophies, and that's why it doesn't work. So that's why the recruitment's gone so important now, where it needs to be perfectly intertwined, and I'm hoping that Ineos integrate that.
Colin Wilmot, who's been a member of the academy for 36 months. Also, Alex Bailey's been a member of the first team for 46 months. I should have mentioned that. Says, lads, do you think Mount is really injured, or has Ten Hag found a midfield tweak that works for us that Mount doesn't quite fit into?
I forgot all about him.
I'm sure. Was he not in the squad on Saturday?
Was he right?
I didn't notice. Was he? I'm not being horrible. Was he on? He wasn't on the bench, was he? Can we have a look?
Mason Mount is one of the strangest signings in post-Ferguson years as to why he's ended up at Manchester United and the money that we spent on him, and I'm still unsure as to what his position is at Old Trafford. I'm not too sure where he's going to play.
Yeah, I felt with Mason Mount, I sort of convinced myself of him. Because
I saw the links. I saw that Ten Hag had played against him in the Dutch league when he was like 19.
Yeah,
there must be something there.
Well, I didn't. I always thought Mount was okay when he was at Chelsea. I thought he was a good player, but I didn't think he was like. I wasn't that excited when we got him. Is what I'm trying to say. Or when we were linked with him, then when we got him, you think, okay, get behind him. You know what I mean? Look at his numbers. I mean, Steve did a video and it was like on his channel where it was. I was arguing against it when we were very first linked with it. I was like, he's all right. I don't think he's worth going for the money or whatever. Steve was arguing for him. And I could see the point. Like, decent numbers, a good player, quite young. Obviously, the manager has something in his head where I want this guy for a reason. And it was after the first season of Ten Hag, which had been relatively successful. So I thought, all right, I get it. One thing I will say about Man, it's not his fault as well with the injuries he's had. That's absolutely.
If we're being honest, though, if you're being honest about it, it was a waste of money.
Well, but it's so far it's been a disaster. Yeah. Like, regardless of whose fault it is.
Because when you say that,
the manager or the injuries, you look at that for the money we've spent and what we've got out of him. I mean, it's been horrible. Like, it has. What was it? 1-2 goals?
Yeah, because you know what's interesting? Because like, he's not been all that great when he has played anyway. But when you say that the Mount signing was a waste of money, people get really defensive about it and say it's not his fault. He's not played and he's been injured. That's partly the point. Like, the fact that he has been unavailable and injured feeds into the narrative that was a waste of money because we've not got return on investment for it.
He's played 25 games.
Whether it is his fault or not, it's not his fault.
Doesn't make a difference.
Doesn't make a difference. He's still not been there. He's still not there. Do you know what I mean?
I know, and I don't want people to sort of think, this is having a dig at Mason Mount. But let's be honest. He came in with all this fanfare. We spent, was it 50-odd million on him when we could have waited. He was given the number 7 shirt, which I think was a mistake. It's not his fault again. I keep saying that, but he's played 25 games. He scored 1 goal, and that goal was it the one against Brentford? When they equalised in the 98th minute or something afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's not been a great move so far. On the plus side for him, there's still an opportunity there to turn it around. I know he was getting trolled the other week when he did that post.
Do you know what another thing I've noticed?
Cut on his head. Don't worry, I'm all right.
Yeah, you know what I've noticed about him when he comes back as well is, I don't know if because people talk about whether United have issues with the way that they do like their physiotherapy and their fitness and things behind the scenes to kind of help with players and their injuries and injury prevention and whatever, like whether it's proprioception and stuff like that. But it's like, I think when I've seen Mount play, he almost looks like he's carrying even a little bit more timber and a little bit heavier than when I watched him at playing for Chelsea. And I don't know whether I think so. I remember seeing people kind of highlighting it on Twitter like a month ago when he came on. It looked a little bit heavier than when he was playing at Chelsea, and I don't know whether that's the fact that he's been injured for so long. Harder to keep it fit, but I think that feeds into it, so that you come back like that and you're probably more likely for your body to break down as well. And I've noticed obviously now that the injury thing is that when people do get multiple injuries continuously, ends up becoming a bit of a cycle then now, where unfortunately things don't quite repair the same, and then obviously you're a £60 million signing, so there's kind of this pressure for you to come back probably a little bit earlier than you need to. There's been an injury crisis at United constantly, so the players and the numbers and the bodies are needed, because I know clubs like to act as if they're quite protective of players' injury issues and fitness, and they'll take their time with them, etc. But a lot of the time, they do try and rush players back.
Of course I know that, especially when they're playing this bad.
You know what I mean? So, but it is what it is.
Fellas, Do you want your grooming routine to be a one and done deal? Well, the days of using the same trimmer for your face, that's not a word, for your face and your balls are over, because our friends over at Manscaped have got the beard and balls bundle, yeah? And using the code Paddock24, you get 20% off and free shipping. There's a link in the description. So you're thinking, what are you going to get for the beards and balls bundle? Well, let me tell you. First of all, you get the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Yeah, that is the pinnacle of below the waist grooming, so your balls can look absolutely mint. And then you get the Beard Hedger. Yeah, this has got the 20 length options. Yeah, I cannot get over that. It is amazing. 20 length options, yeah, which is the name of our favourite porno. So you can get that sorted. You can have a beard like his. What? Shows your beard. Okay. Designer stubble, very modern. Or you can have one like his. You let yours go a little bit, haven't you? Longer.
Yeah,
a little bit longer.
You noticed?
Of course not. Don't worry about that, son.
What's yours?
Mine's how nature intended, nice and smooth, yeah? So I like my balls and my head to look, and the chin to look the same.
I'm going a bit grissly now. I don't know, but you tell me if you don't like it.
No, I love it. You look very nice. Both of you do, and that's all thanks to Manscaped. So go and check out the link in the description. Get the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. You get 60 minutes of runtime, and you've got an LED charge indicator on that little bad boy. Go and get obviously the Beard Hedger with the 20 length options and the titanium coated stainless steel blades. You've got all that good stuff. You've got 20% off. You've got free shipping. You can do your beard and your balls at the same time, and they will both thank you. Big thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this podcast. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know how you're feeling, people. What do you make of what's going on? A lot of people talking about Mason Mount. I think he's going through that stage of he's lost the crowd, shall we say. He's lost the room. Ross Murphy says Mount can press. That's a positive, but apart from that, his quality hasn't shown. Akash K says the only positive on Mount is a good press of the ball, and that's pretty much it, which says a lot. Idio says man like Jay, last year a contract, minimal output, not much availability, ridiculous transfer fee, funded Cole Palmer and boosted Chelsea's FFP.
Bang on.
Shocker. You agree with that one, Ronny?
I got pelters for saying it, but at the time, even at the time before he kicked the ball, I thought we paid way too much for someone out. Was obviously clearly surplus to requirements at the club.
Yeah.
So they had no leverage and power. He had 1 year left. It was either that or he was going to go for free. He spent a lot of the last season before he was sold injured. How United can look at that and fork out 55 to 60 million pounds for him, I have no idea. Especially when you know, if you've got to be a bit clever and you've got to be a bit more shrewd when it comes to business now, especially with FFP and PSR, is he's a homegrown Cobham Academy product for them. You're giving them 55 to 60 million of pure profit for a player that they're going to lose for free the following season. It doesn't make sense. And then they turn around and flip that and fund
get Cole
Palmer. And I thought the same thing. Obviously, Ugarte is different because Ugarte can end up kicking on and being really good. But I still was sceptical about it because I didn't think what we paid was his value. And then it's also the way that PSG flipped that money and got a superior player in João Neves.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think United need to start being a bit cleverer going forward. But I've been saying that for
a bit more savvy in the boardroom. Is Mason Mount the last signing under Murto and the Glazers sort of running things? Would you say?
Was it the last one? I think was that their window. I think that was their window.
Yeah.
That one.
It just seems very indicative.
Was he before Onana
style?
Was it? He was around that same time, wasn't it? I think he might have been. I mean, yeah, maybe it was a bit of the remnants of that. Didn't make much sense. And I thought, for me, I mean, hindsight is a wonderful thing, but this is what we're looking at. We're looking at it now. Time has moved on. That's how it works. And we're looking at it going, has it been worth it so far? And the answer is no, because I think had we not signed Mason Mount, nothing would have changed. Do you know what I mean? Like, we wouldn't, I don't think he helped us win the FA Cup. I don't think he helped us get... Where did we finish last season?
Low.
No disrespect to the kid, but it's not like there's nothing there where you go, well, if it wasn't for him, this would have happened. So that's the issue you've got. Brian Casey says, look at the difference between Mount and De Ligt. When it comes to the head injury, Mount is out since and De Ligt refused to leave the pitch. Easy to see why De Ligt has been the captain at every club. I don't know what the situation there is with Mason Mount. I don't know where, what's going on. I don't know if it is just the head injury.
It looks a bit of an idiot doing that post though, saying it's just a scratch and then can't play for a couple of weeks. Do you know?
Yeah.
It's obviously not.
Was there something else going on there?
Did we lose the game or was it a draw?
3-0. We lost. Bro, It couldn't have been any worse. It was like David Brent, with the... There's good news and bad news. Bad news is some of you are getting made redundant. The good news is I have been promoted. It was like, why are you posting this? What is wrong with you? And he was getting trolled mercilessly. I kind of felt sorry for him a little bit because I thought either someone's done it for him and said, yeah, here's what we'll do. We'll let everyone know you're all right. Or he's just been proper naive, but it was a bad move. Happy says, why is the Ronaldo project and Leonard from the Big Bang Theory always negative? Much love and respect, lads. What's the Ronaldo project and Leonard from the Big Bang Theory?
Have I been negative?
You Leonard from the... You hate the Big Bang Theory. I think it's absolutely garbage. I don't understand why anyone watches it. Peter, who's been a member of the Academy for 25 months, says, I know he's a youngster and will need bedding in, but where do you guys see Toro fitting in and who makes way? It's about Lenny Yoro. Where do you see Lenny Yoro fitting in?
At centre half, hopefully.
Yeah, good. Controversial. Does he come straight into the team though? Here's one for you.
Probably not. Do you know what I mean? Just because on the basis of, this is my worry, and we get like this as a fan base where obviously you got that little bit of saviour syndrome in it. It's always someone that isn't available.
Van der Beek.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Remember him for years, he was the answer.
Someone that's unavailable is going to come in and just change things and change everything. And for an 18-year-old centre-back, especially a position where players obviously usually kick on and find their peak and prime much later, I think we've got to be careful with managing him. And we've seen what's happened to the likes of Mainu. We've got to be careful about the amount of minutes and the load that Kobe Mainoo's taken on, and the fact that he's injured now, and there's always that worry. And I think Lenny Yoro, who's 18, never played in the Premier League before, and obviously he's got all this potential, doesn't mean that we should, as soon as he come back, throw him into the Lions' den. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully, if he's good enough and he's ready, because I think he is, then we'll play him, because I think he's probably off pure talent better than the centre halves that we've got.
So where does he go then with De Ligt and Martinez? Who do you see dropping out of them to Yoro? That's a difficult conversation.
I think with Martinez, and I thought he's all right at the weekend, probably a little bit better than he has been recent weeks. Something's not quite right with him in a minute. I don't know what I don't know if it's injury, something. He's probably had more bad games this season than he's ever had for us. And I just think he doesn't look himself. So I don't know whether he needs a bit of a rest, whether rotating might help him, whether someone like Yoro can come in for a few games, and then you've also got Maguire, who I know people don't like him, but he can be an option for a lot of games. So I don't know what it is with Martinez. I think if Martinez gets back to the levels we saw in that first season, and it's the levels that he's capable of, then I think Yoro is back up to them, but he's a lot younger, isn't he? So I don't know.
When we got De Ligt, everyone thought the best CB pairing would be De Ligt and Yoro, but...
Yeah.
Because of Martinez, people thought maybe shift Martinez out to left back, or maybe even play a back three.
Yeah.
Because I know Martinez hasn't been his best for a while now, and people are concerned about physicality standpoint and whether he's getting exposed a little bit in wide channels with the setup that we've introduced this season. But I still think United have build-up issues, and Martinez is by far and away our best player on the ball in that build-up phase. And he's one of the best in the world at it from that position. So people might be hasty to think to get rid of Martinez and to put in the bigger centre halves and saying he might not fit in, but then you lose that bit of it as well. So it just depends. Sometimes, is there anything wrong with him becoming maybe the centre halves being rotated depending on the game, maybe the fixture? Whatever.
That's the dream, isn't it? That's the dream to have a team that you can rotate all the time. Look at all the teams that are successful. They've got the ability to rotate, and that's what we've lacked.
People forget that. Even in United's sort of successful eras, we did rotate our centre-backs quite a lot. People always talk about Rio and Vidic, but in a lot of those seasons, one of them would be out for a few games, and someone like Johnny Evans, or towards the latter stages of it, you'd have... Chris Smalling or even Phil Jones would come in. I remember years ago when he had Ronnie Johnson and Jaap Stam, sometimes Henning Berger come in, Wes Brown. Centre back, always, players that you'd kind of consider first team players, yet not always first team if everyone's fit, but they would always do a job. So I'm not against that idea. And listen, the amount of injuries we've had, I don't think we need to worry about our centre backs not getting rotated. I think there's always going to be an opportunity to play for Manchester United in defence. I want to talk about the other end of the pitch, goals, because obviously it's 7 goals this season in the Premier League, which is terrible. Better at the weekend. I don't want to be negative after we've won and scored goals. Good to see Højlund get off the mark as well in the Premier League. Scotty, me and you've spoken about this extensively. I mean, I know it's the sort of $64,000 question. What needs to be done, do you feel like, going forward with United? Do you think we need to just... Is it creating chances? Is it not taking chances? Is it a bit of both? What is the issue there, and how can we fix it?
It's creating chances. I was doing the watch along at the weekend, and Nathan Ellington was on with us. And as a striker, he was saying, he said there's no crosses coming into the box in the first half, and that was the issue. And whilst Garnacho had one of his better games for Man United, he was a bit wasteful in front of goals until he got that. But then, lo and behold, within the first 5 minutes of the second half, Rashford crosses in, Garnacho goal. So I think it's delivery, but I'm not too sure how set up our wingers are to play for Højlund. Do you know what I mean? Because I think Rashford likes to cut inside, and Garnacho's got an eye for goal, but they're not assist merchants, are they? In the same
well, it was
way?
interesting you say that. It was a good point, because I thought Rashford on that right sort of not forced him, but encouraged him to pick out crosses more, because he's not trying to hit it as a shot, and he seemed to drop a bit deeper. And most of you look at them, a lot of them crosses, he wasn't running down the wing. He was.
Oh, just off the halfway.
Yeah, it was almost like David Beckham-esque. Yeah. And the delivery was spot on. I thought Rashford's passing on Saturday was very good indeed. And the weird thing with Højlund is, obviously he took his goal well, but a lot of the game he was quite deep, wasn't he? And I don't know if that is that cause and effect, where you're going, look, if you've got wingers doing a cross, you can get in the box more, but if you haven't, you're not. I don't know. Ronnie, this is another again, me and you've spoken about this quite a lot. How do you see United scoring more goals? What's the answer? Come on, tell me now.
Do you know what? I think if our press gets better, which is funny, it's a funny one, because you mentioned cause and effect. It is cause and effect when it comes to how you get better offensively and how you get better defensively, because they're both basically intertwined, where if you're attacking really well and you're keeping teams pinned back and you're keeping them under pressure, then you've got to defend less. So then in theory, you'll be defensively better. But then also, if obviously you defend better in terms of your press and you win the ball back high and you get those high regains in the final third, then you're going to get better chances where teams are open off that, and then you'll get better attacking opportunities and you'll get better output and score more goals. So it's just a bit of both, because you're looking at us and you think, we haven't conceded that many goals, to be fair, this season, but we still haven't been defensively as good as we probably would like to be. But I think that the biggest problem has been going forward, and I don't know, I think we maybe just need to integrate patterns. We need to put players where they perform best. I think the players need to have a little bit more intensity, because I think that's one thing that fans are right to accuse the players of lacking sometimes, because it looks like other teams are usually a little bit physically stronger and bigger and quicker, and I don't think we're putting in enough intensity in terms of our duels as well. I think we lose way too many duels, and I think those things were much better on the weekend, especially in the second half, which was the little bit that I did see. So I don't know. If I had the quick fix, or if I knew what would improve our attack, then obviously I'd probably be in a dugout instead of Ten Hag, but I'm not. So I think he's better served to know and try and figure it out. You'd hope so, wouldn't you? I think Ten Hag should figure it out and not me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, it was a very difficult question. I don't expect you to have all the answers. It was good to see the sort of all three attackers do well at the weekend, and I did that rarity of watching Match of the Day. I've not watched it since about 2008, and apparently still on. And Alan Shearer highlighted it, and he's hardly missed the Manchester United, but I like the fact he went through all, like Garnacho, Højlund and Rashford. He didn't single one of them out. He went, look at all three of them, all playing well, all doing the roles, and that's what I think we need a bit more of. We need them to sort of gel, because I don't think any of them are necessarily prolific. I know Rashford has it 30 goals in 20 plus seasons or whatever, but you can't rely on him to get you. He's not going to get you Mo Salah numbers. And I don't think Højlund is necessarily going to be that 25, 30 goal a season striker. But if they're all weighing in, if they're all getting you 15, like was it Arsenal last season, the season before, where Martinelli, Odegaard and Saka all had like 15 Premier League goals or whatever each. It was the first time I think in Arsenal's history they'd had more. If you can get like your attack gelling and all contributing, then and dovetailing, it works, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Because like Marcus didn't score the weekend, but he helps assist, and Garnacho gets it. It is difficult in terms of that sort of winning your duels and stuff like that. One thing that's disappointed me, Scotty, is just been a little bit of lack of resilience at times in this team. They showed it the weekend, but me and you always say about we go a goal behind, you feel like going home. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You do, don't you? Because it's like Spurs score, and it's like, well, that's the end of that.
Are we going to score two?
Yeah.
I mean,
the scouts just go, well, I didn't know that. What's that? Sorry.
Because you look, the stats are up there, and the thing about our goal scoring in the 3 seasons in the Ten Hag in the Premier League, and looks like we've never been that high scoring. To be fair,
I think it's 58, 57, 58 in his first season, and 57 in his second season. I mean, the second season, 58 goals scored and 58 against is absolutely horrible. But like you said, that's what defensively this season, we've conceded as many goals as City, and I know that doesn't tell you the full story before people start getting on there. But it's not horrendous, our defensive record. Our goal scoring record is.
Yeah, I mean, but you're both ends of the pitch with the problem last year. So if we are sorting one end out, then that's something positive to look forward to. But you're right, with resilience, that has been a huge thing, and our heads have dropped massively when we've conceded goals, not just this season, but in the past. And when we went 1-0 down at the weekend, and in the way that they did as well, with De Ligt going off and the whole thing, why has he gone off, and then Deleu's mistake. You wouldn't have been massively surprised if United came out with the heads dropped, because they seem to do that more than often than not. Yeah. But what was massively encouraging, and it shows for those fans that say, the players have down tools for the manager, that evidently wasn't the case, because they came out and shown the fight, that they wanted to win. The frustrating thing for me is just do that all the time. You shouldn't need to get an unjust goal against you in the last minute of the first half to have that sort of intensity, like Ronaldo said. First minute that you're under pressure anyway because you've not been playing so good. The first minute of kick-off, you should be off and doing that and putting Brentford on the back foot. Second half, Brentford weren't even in the game, and it showed that we are better players and can play better. Why are you not doing it for 90 minutes?
Unquestionably got better players than Brentford. That's why I still think, when I said I expected United to finish fourth, and I'm looking at it now and thinking fifth or sixth is more reasonable, is because I believe, from like a quality and a general talent perspective, it might not be where we need it to be or where it has been in the past when we were winning things, but it's definitely good enough to be in and around that position at least by the end of the season, especially when you take into account the investment that we have put in the summer windows.
No, I agree, and you pointed out, Ronnie, about the match winners. You've got players like Marcus Rashford and Bruno.
Yeah, because I said the reason why I said that is because
can win you a match.
Rashford and Bruno get the most criticism from the fan page generally, and that's especially this season. And I think that usually comes with the fact that you are seen as a marquee of player where your expectations are generally higher than the other players. So when things are going wrong or you want to perform, then you are going to bear the brunt of criticism. That just comes with the territory of being that level of player. But you look at the goals on the weekend, both goals come from moments of brilliance from Rashford in terms of his delivery to Garnacho and a good finish, and comes from Bruno's flick to Højlund. The two bits of quality creates an opportunity to win the game, and no matter what you want to think about him, and he don't always perform at their best, and I think Bruno's been miles below his best. I think Rashford has flattered to deceive for years now, but I think this season he's played better than people would like to realise.
I agree.
Do you know what I mean? They still have that ability to win games for you.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to highlight it when I did say Rashford and Bruno
retweeted it, to be fair.
Been heavily scrutinised, but wanted to give them the credit that they deserve in terms of them offering them 2 moments of brilliance for us to win the game.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's like the greater ability that you have, the more susceptible you are to getting criticism, because you've got fans that are looking towards you. But I think goals are noticed because we are so reliant on players like Bruno and Rashford, and I don't know how it is for them. Nobody else is chipping in. You were talking there about loads of other goals. It shouldn't always be on them two players to rely on them, moments of magic. There's another 9 players on the pitch that should be doing it.
Yeah, 100%. And I get like people go look at it and they go, okay, Garnacho's younger or whatever, and Diallo's still relatively young, but there's still players playing for Manchester United, talented players. You've got to weigh in. Do you know what I mean? Loads of people in the chat, get involved in the comments. Hit that like button as well, please, people. Ross Murphy says we're conceding less shots, which is a massive positive. It's a massive improvement on actually watching the game, not seeing teams have 30 shots. Remember that last season? Yeah. It was like every game conceding like record-breaking number of shots, and people go, well, it doesn't matter if you don't go in. It doesn't matter when you're watching a game of football. You're just watching your teams getting peppered with shots constantly. It's rubbish. Marcus says, I don't know how you guys can watch us play and think we have anything to be positive about. That's the spirit. Geordie says, do you think Fletcher, Gore or any young midfielders will get minutes? Jack Fletcher, I think, was on the bench, wasn't he, at the weekend? We'll wait and see. We've been speaking to Finn from Academy Scoop. Talk about that. I like all those players. We'll have to see what happens in terms of whether they get. You think the Europa might be a place for him to get minutes, but I don't even know what's going to happen now because we haven't won in it yet, have we? So we might need to give ourselves.
Is it a must-win game?
I don't think there are any must-win games in Europe. I think you can lose like 12 on the spin and still qualify. Right. It's just I don't understand. It's like like a group where you can finish 24th and still go through.
So it's a league that's built for us.
Yeah,
because you've got Fenerbahce, and I think we should beat them, hopefully.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think they drew 2-2 on the weekend against Salmon Sport or whatever it is. But I don't know. I'd like it to be a situation where United qualify ahead of time, and then you can maybe kind of put players that are on the fringes of the team in a starting 11 maybe, because I still think when you're in the Europa League and you're playing Thursday, Sunday, it usually does affect your league form.
Yeah.
And that was one of my worries this season when it comes to United doing the Thursday, Friday, because we've got West Ham on Sunday. West Ham have been awful this season.
Terrible.
They've been quite bad. They don't have Kudus against us because he got sent off against Tottenham. But it's just, my concern is we should beat West Ham based on how it's going, or at least have a really good chance to do that. But then you're away at Istanbul on the Thursday, and then you've got the turnaround to the Sunday, and how many times do you see that affect teams do it when they are in the Europa League? So that's my only worry, especially because even then, like every single Premier League team that you play now, they've still got Bowen, they've still got Antonio, they've got Fulkrug, they've got Paqueta, they've got Souček, who's always dangerous when he arrives in the box, and they've still got, I think they've got Sinistera that can play instead of Kudus, and he's a good player as well. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I was looking at the fixtures and I'm like, hopefully we do get on a bit of a run, because it's so disheartening, man, when every single week just coming talking. Because you know when people say why always being negative, what on earth was there to be positive about?
You can't lose 3-0 to Liverpool.
That's what I mean.
Come on here and go, I tell you what,
it's like, I don't
those
understand.
first 20 minutes were amazing. Or when you lose 3-0 to Spurs, or you draw with Porto when you've been 2-0 up. It's difficult, and I know I repeat this, it's like a mantra. We're not MUTV. I'm not going to come here and lie like some, sort of Pravda and go, everything's great.
They want you to, though.
I don't know. If I think the game was rubbish, I'm going to say that. And far too often
we'll lose 3-0 to Liverpool, or we'll lose 3-0 to Tottenham, and I'll come in here on a Monday, and then you rightfully criticise the performance, and then everyone's like, bro, why are you being negative?
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, sorry.
How did you not find the silver lining in that?
I should have just basically told you what you wanted to hear and been overly positive for no reason, and not actually say what I thought. But that's why I'm hoping that United actually keep performing well, find consistency, and then I won't have to, because I also said I'm the type of person that will be the other way. When United are really good again, and we're challenging for the title and we're winning things, I'm going to be unbearable, Jay.
No,
I'm going to be unbearable.
I wasn't unbearable enough when we were winning everything.
Rival fans are going to hate me.
Good, that's the way it should be. Ronnie Dodge says, would you start Ugarte and Casemiro together Thursday? Would you give that a go, Scotty?
I don't know. You guys not played a lot of minutes, has this, and and Casemiro's legs. That'd be a combination I wouldn't put in the starting lineup myself.
Interesting. Ronaldo Brown, what do you reckon? Ugarte, Casemiro, South American.
Yeah, I'll do that, because obviously I think Eriksen needs to have his minutes controlled a little bit more, man. You know what's the funny thing about Eriksen is because he's got his heart issue, it's tricked people into believing that he wasn't that fit of a footballer. I know sometimes he's faded in this kind of gun-hole midfield system that we've got that requires a lot of him physically. But Eriksen, especially in his prime, was one of the fittest players in the league. He always was. I think he used to cover the most distance out of most midfielders year in, year out, especially in his Spurs days. People don't know that and in the Euros for Denmark, Eriksen was right near the top for distance covered.
Eriksen played well in the Euros.
People don't know, but like Eriksen actually has an engine. It's just
it's like a stigma because of the heart
condition. It's the aerobic one and not the anaerobic one, because he's not very quick. Yeah. So all his XP's gone into stamina. Do you know what I mean? Okay. But I still think his minutes need to be kind of managed a little bit. And obviously, your guy is a £50 million asset, so I think he needs to play a little bit more than he's been playing recently, and show his value.
Listen, I tell you, I haven't got a judgment on you, guy. I'm waiting to see what I see. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't watch a lot of him at PSG, so I don't know. I'll just see what I see for Manchester United. And obviously, it's far too early to tell for me now to make a judgment on him. So I've barely seen the kid, but I'm hoping that he's, can see glimpses. I'm hoping that he'll live up to the expectation and do what he needs to do and help Manchester United win title number 21. It's Wally of the Week time. If we can have our funky little graphic. Thank you. So, you know the dance. This is where we give ourselves, or give the viewers, a Wally of the Week, and you can obviously join in at home. Ronnie, who is your Wally of the Week? Go on, you're allowed to say anyone.
The thing is, you know what? Because I always mention how much I hate them. I could come in every single week and say that the Wally of the Week is Arsenal fans. Do you know what I mean? Because realistically, they deserve it again for how they behaved about the Saliba decision.
Tell him the thing you told me upstairs. It was funny. About Ben White.
About Ben White. So Dave said that wasn't a red card against Saliba because Ben White in the second leg against Bayern last season, Leroy Sané burst in on goal and like slowed down, jogged, took the ball out his feet, and Ben White's busted a gut and just about got back and blocked it. So it was like, the referee needs to know that Ben White is quick. He kept up with Sané last year, so he's quick enough to catch Evan Nilsson, so it's not a goal scoring opportunity. So basically, their theory is the referee needs to know what Ben White's 100-metre PB is before they actually give a red card for him. They need to gauge whether Ben White's quick enough to make up a 30-metre gap that before Evan Nilsson gets a shot off. I just I don't know. It's mental.
Sky had a graphic on before showing the difference between the two, and the kid's faster than Ben White.
So just found it hilarious. So Ben White, a lot of them were arguing that Ben White's much quicker than Evan Nilsson, and that obviously they were so sure about that.
Yeah,
that they'd catch him, and then Sky Sports did a stat saying that out of both their top speeds this season, Evan Nilsson's quicker than him by way over 1 kilometre an hour. And I just found that hilarious as well. Right. But anyway, it's just the fact that they've built up this kind of complaint thing where there's some sort of conspiracy against them. If you've got 3 red cards in 8 games, rather than look in the mirror and think you might have a bit of a discipline issue, and I think that stems from Arteta. Do you know what I mean? Because he's a bit of an unlikable bastard as well.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And I think their whole kind of squad like encapsulates that, which is weird because if you look at Arsenal's team, their 3 best players are fairly unproblematic kind of players.
Saka, Odegaard and
Rice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then they're just nice guys, but just as a collective, it's a bit weird. And I just think their fan base are so strange. And I think every single weekend when matches are played, they do something else to piss me off, or they build a narrative to piss me off, and they just complain and whine and act like they're victims all the time. And they just annoy me. So I just will, for default, if I don't have one, it will just always be Wally of the Week will be Arsenal fans.
They do it both ways, Arsenal fans. Like, they go too far. Like, if they lose, like you're saying there, Ben White would have caught him and all this nonsense. And then when they win, like, they've been doing this, right, since back to the Wenger days, right? You see him on the pitch taking selfies and stuff when you've won a game in the middle of October. Do you know what I mean? Was it last season when they beat the Scousers and taking photos with the cameraman's camera? Like you've won the league. Like, I don't know, people go, it's celebration, please, and all that, but I think there's something there in their head where they get too giddy sometimes. It can be counterproductive.
They're so annoying as well. It's like they'll have one injury to a starter and they'll act like the sky's falling, and they'll say it's not fair. Like, it's because we didn't have Odegaard for this particular one game, or when they were like one of the least injured teams last season as well. And you don't take into account that every team deals with
Can you imagine the meltdown if they had our injuries?
Do you know what I mean? So, and when they
Willie Campbell starting for you.
And when they build injury arguments, what I see as well, they'll mention that they've got like 4 injuries, and all 4 of the injured players aren't starters.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They do that. Do you know what I mean? They do that a lot as well.
He's injured.
Yeah, that's what they're like, honestly.
They were like Ethan Nwaneri is whatever his name is. He's injured. Do you know what I mean? They're like, we've had Zinchenko injured. He's like the 3rd choice left back now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. Scotty,
I'm going to forget his name. The guy who got sent off for West Ham against Spurs.
Mohamed Kudus.
Yeah, because he took down 3 people, didn't he? I always think if you're going to go down in style.
I don't know if he's a Wally. I quite admire him.
That's what I was trying to work out. Is he a Wally or a hero?
I thought the ref was a Wally because he did all that in front of him. Like, the refs just watched him, like, proper lose his head, like, punching people in the face.
Punching, headbutting.
Yeah, like body scattered all around. And the referee's gone, come here, you son, and give him a yellow. And it's like, and even he was a bit like, right,
really?
give me a yellow.
What else have we got to do?
I know I'm getting sent off. And then he was waiting for VAR. You could see, like, he's just waiting, thinking, this is a red card. And then he waited, and the ref, like, watched it. And has gone straight away. Jesus Christ, what am I thinking? This is like 3 red cards at once. The referee must have gone on that monitor and gone, oh my God, this is terrible. How the fuck could I not give him a red card?
I don't know, man. Do you reckon Paqueta put a bet on him?
Oh, mate. Yeah, maybe he's had a word with him. Red cards, mate. We'll get us a nice little tickle here. If we're losing 4-1, let's just go for it, yeah? Let's get some reds in the
Because I'm not like, from an individual standpoint, they've got way too good of players to be as bad as they've been, West Ham as well.
I just want to see Moyes back there. I want to see David Moyes coming back in like the saviour is, and all the West Ham fans have that utter meltdown because they hate him, but they have to sort of begrudgingly respect him.
Is he the most successful manager in the last however many
40 years or something? Yeah, like he's in terms of league finishes, and won a trophy, won a European trophy. Like it's a tough pill to swallow for them.
I was gonna say McKenna in it for letting Everton beat them, but because Everton have actually kicked on a bit now, and they've won a couple of games on the bounce. So
yeah.
I've lost.
Right, so you're going Kudus, but maybe you like him. The ref. I don't know, man. I think you might have a shout with the refs. Do you know what annoyed me on weekend with the ref? Wasn't the fact that he wouldn't let De Ligt back on. It was the fact that like they get a free kick for De Ligt getting booted in knee in the head.
Yes, it was a high knee on it, and then
and I was like, how's that worked out? So I think we've seen some questionable decisions over the weekend as well. And do you know what it is? It's not even like refs or VAR or decisions. It's just the whole Bernardo Silva thing on Jose Sarr at Wolves just annoyed me. Just a situation where it's like the last minute they get a goal as they always do, City, and it's like it's gone to VAR, and you're looking at it and you go, oh yeah, he might have impeded him there. And it's like, no, he hasn't. And you think, you've seen them giving it, could have gone either way. So I don't even know who I'm blaming for that one. Just everyone. Right, thanks everyone for getting involved in the comments and the chat. Ronny, always a pleasure. Thank you. Go and check him out on X. You know where to find Scotty as well. Me and him will be back later on with Scotty and Motty, so make sure you check that out. Big thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this podcast. Don't forget to use the code Paddock24. Go in the link in the description. You get 20% off and free shipping. That's been Scotty. That's been Ronny. I've been Jay. This has been the Paddock Podcast. Thanks for watching.